your host, BradBetsFooty, your go-to show for global football analysis and betting. Today is March 4th, and I want to introduce my coworker before we get started, or my coworker, co-host, I
Well,
guess you could say, at Prince of Picks 10 on X and TikTok. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, man. Yeah, ready to get into these games. We got a fun slate of games today. Of course, the Champions League taking place today. So I'm going to leave those ones to you because you've had a lot more. You've been hitting on a lot of these lately, so I'm going to defer to you on this one. But I got some domestic league games that we're going to be covering today for myself here. So plus we got the Asian Champions League tomorrow morning. We got actually some games going on right now as well in the Champions League 2. So a lot of cool games taking place today. Interested and ready to get into them, man.
Yeah, a lot of lower English league action, a lot of top Champions League leg one action, as well as that AFC Champions League. So, a lot of those difficult slates. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to cover all four Champions League matches. Prince is going to highlight the some stuff in the National League, the Championship, and the AFC Champions League. So, that's going to be our schedule today. And I'll provide some information as well, but we'll then close it up and recap after. But let's go ahead and jump straight into the slate. Well, this first match is a really difficult match. There's a lot loaded here with Club Bruges and Aston Villa. Club Bruges come in scoring now. This is crazy, actually. In 62 of 65. That is 95%. Club Bruges, regular scorers. They play a nice open brand of football. They've conceded also in 33 of 43. That's 77%. So above three out of every four matches for Bruges, they're conceding. They're actually hitting both teams to score in 78%, above three out of every four matches. That is pretty solid at 18 of 23. They're hitting the over as well. Unbeaten in 26 of 29. So they're playing good football. They did lose at home against Standard Liège very recently. So they're just starting to tick some of those performances in a negative way for really the first time this season. And they're playing an Aston Villa team who's really trending pretty well lately. Aston Villa has scored in 76% of their last 63. So regular scores, three out of every four, conceded also in 83% of their last 46. I mean, these are regular scores, regular conceders on both ends. Both teams to score is coming in pretty frequently with Villa. However, not necessarily on the away end. Villa have now only hit both teams to score in 4 of 11 away matches and 1 of 5 away matches in the UCL specifically, including a match against Bruges that ended 1-0 to Bruges winning. So it was an away fixture, exactly the same fixture that you're seeing today. Typically, what you see with Unai Emery is a tactical masterclass. He likes to sit in deep, absorb pressure, and that's just kind of how he approaches these matches, especially when he knows he has a leg two upcoming. Going back home, I expect him to do the same. However, they're playing against a Bruges team who does most of it counter-attacking. The same thing with Villa. They play a very similar style. So I'm not necessarily sure what we're going to see, but I have seen one match in the knockout stage between these two in this exact scenario, and it didn't really hit the expectations you would expect from a Villa team and from a Bruges team. So that is what's the cause for concern today. I don't know which direction it's going to go. It definitely could hit both teams to score. It definitely could hit over 2.5. It could hit 3 or 4 or 5 goals. Who knows? It could also have 1 or nil because that's how Unai Emery plays. You need to know that. Yes, they're trending well, both of these teams in the scoring department, but there's just too much underneath the matchup to really know which direction it's going and to put money on it. I've seen simulations that are all over the place. I've seen Villa, I've seen Bruges. It's just a very convoluted match. So maybe one that you want to attack live. If they look like they're playing an open brand of football from the start, I expect goals back and forth. Aston Villa is going to be playing some of those counter-attacking players like Marcus Rashford, going to have Asensio in there to feed those balls wide. It just depends on their initiative and the impetus that they have in their play. And you won't know that until they start. It's an Unai Emery way he plays. It's just how he does it. Now, that's the Bruges match. I want to just get in, get out real quick. Let's go straight over to Prince for one of your first best bets for today. Let's go. Take it over.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start off in the England Championship division here. We got a 2:45 p.m. Eastern kickoff this afternoon, where Hull City are going to be taking on Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth is a team here recently that I have been attacking to fade lately. However, they've improved. They had a managerial change over the last, I think, month or so, and the results have improved since then. But it's improved on the defensive side, but not so much on the offensive side. They still struggle to score, specifically on the road here. So we're looking at a shots off target special here. We're looking at unders in this one. And if we dig into the details here, 4 out of the last 5 head to head has seen the under 2.5 hit. So again, they've really been struggling to score, not just in their own games, but also head to head here. Plymouth on the road have scored 1 goal or less in 36 of their last 40 matches. So again, this is a team that really, really struggled to score away from home here. And Hull City on the other side, they have scored 1 goal or less in 14 of their last 17 home matches. So again, we have two teams trending here at home and away, just struggling to score goals. They both just play, a lot more of a conservative style here. And I don't think we're going to see goals in this one. So I'm going to see the game total under 2.5 here at -135. These two teams are not really separated by much. They're pretty close to each other in the standings here. So, a draw won't necessarily hurt either one of them, really. But, based on the trends here, I don't think we see goals. But another play I like here, maybe just a little sprinkle here, Hall City and under 3.5. You can get that at plus money here, +125. Hall City, they're undefeated in 4 of their last 5 head-to-head against Plymouth here. So we are riding the trends by taking that. And Plymouth on the road have lost 16 of their last 23 away matches. So you got a Plymouth team again, not just struggling to score on the road, but also struggling to get results on the road. While Hull City has somewhat dominated them recently, I think this is good value against for Hull City here against a Plymouth side that's coming off of that weekend fixture against Man City. Maybe some tired legs for Plymouth here. A few days later, they're back in league action here. And not just to mention, the emotional toll that maybe that game took as well. I mean, they were up 1-0, then kind of a roller coaster, being down 3-1. Maybe some of you're getting your feelings a little bit. And you're just like, man, we could have had it. And now you got to come back and play another match on the road, which is obviously something that they've really struggled to do recently. So my main play is going to be game total under 2.5. But if you want to do a sprinkle, Hall City money in under 3.5. That plus money, I don't hit that all as well.
Yeah, that's a good look. Hull City is trending in the right direction. Plymouth all over the place. Yeah, they've gotten a little better since Rooney left, but not that much better to really want to back financially. There's another match in the championship today. I have covered Burnley from the beginning of the season, like continuously highlighted Burnley because you need to know certain data with Burnley. They're an impressive team this year in some different ways than I typically go for. Burnley has now hit both teams to score in only 4 of their 28 league matches. They've only hit over 2.5 in 4 of their 28 league matches. That is 14%. That is crazy. That both teams to score is hovering around plus money, but it's both teams to score no at -145 and under 2.5 at -200. So the books are very well informed on this Burnley team. Burnley did hit the over in their last match, which was, I believe, a cup match, shot the over against, it was a Preston or Cardiff. I can't actually remember, but they're playing Cardiff today. So I think it was Preston. It's really surprising that they hit that total, didn't even score. I expect Burnley to be able to score against Cardiff today. That is Cardiff conceding in 30 of 37 at 81%. Burnley is a better squad, but those numbers for Burnley, it's kind of like, how are we not backing this team? Even though you look at Cardiff and the home team, and they've had both teams to score in 11 to 15, so trending really well. Lately, they've scored in 24 of 31, which is 77%. So I'm kind of in between it. I do think that if there is a match that could find the totals, it would be this one. So it can't be a best bet of mine. But come on, Burnley, 4 of 28 in both of those numbers. It's definitely something that those of you need to look at if you're not already. So now I'm going to highlight this Dortmund and Lille match. This is probably my second favorite match of the day. Not a lot of favoritism amongst this slate, specifically in leg one specifically, but really these 4 matches, there's a lot different information that could really push to either side. Tomorrow, I feel like there's a little bit more value. So we're just really covering 3 out of these 4 and giving a best bet. But there's Dortmund. They're scoring at 29 of 33, really improved since their manager left and they've replaced them. And then they conceded in 14 of 18, which is decent, but one of the last four. So they're just slightly starting to trend in a better direction defensively. One of those, or sorry, two of those were against a really poor, depleted Sporting side, which we watched. They put up no effort, absolutely nothing. Dortmund was playing for fun. It looked like they were out in the schoolyard, just passing the ball around, not worried about a darn thing. And so that is something that you need to know. Yeah, they look a little defensively, but maybe it had more to do with Sporting than it did Dortmund. But again, I'm not necessarily sure. I just saw a really poor side that they play against and no real initiative in that match and a lot of it. And that kind of scares me a little bit. They're not really trending well in the Bundesliga as well. So I'm not sure what to make of Dortmund. Yeah, they're trending better lately, but no, they're not really doing what you want in order to back them. They've now conceded, or sorry, hit both teams to score in 4 of their 8 UCL matches, and they've hit over 2.5 in 8 of their 10 UCL matches. So they do tend to find goals in these, just like their opponent, Lille, who is scoring in 24 of 25, which is honestly pretty regular. Lille's been finding the net. Some top attackers that they have who have really been able to find the net. They've now conceded in 16 of 19, pretty solid, but both teams' scores now come in at 16 of 19 because they're scoring so frequently. That's 84% for Lille. Both of these teams are trending well. I just don't know if Lille is just going to try to come out here and park the bus and just pray that they can get back home in leg two, which would be the best scenario for them. If they can get it home with a tied aggregate, that would be almost like a win. So with Dortmund, I see that they're going to probably have to try to push. And when Dortmund try to push, that's when they get exposed. So I think that they could get exposed today, and I think that Lille could score, but I'm just not positive, right? And I'm not going to be putting out a bet where I'm just not positive. Just seems like that's going to be. So if you are watching this game live and Lille is finding some comfortable possession, some attacking intent within their unit, getting the ball in and around their striker in the box, then it's a no-brainer to attack goals in this match. Now, they don't have a matchup history, given that they haven't played one another. So there's nothing to go from in that. So we're just really speculating and guessing. And maybe leg two is a match where you would want to attack these two teams. Now, you are headed to the National League. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yep. So we're gonna head to the England National League here. Another 2:45 p.m. Eastern kick where Eastleigh are gonna be taking on Ebbsfleet United. Ebbsfleet, they come into this one probably one of the worst teams in terms of their record in maybe National League history. They're winless in 34 out of 35 league matches. One win on the season. 11 of those did end in a draw. So they have been a team that's pretty much been an auto fade for me here in the England National League. However, they are undefeated in 8 out of 11 versus Eastleigh. So if there was ever an opportunity where Ebbsfleet could potentially pick up a point, I do think it could be a game like this. Now, it's pretty hard to go, what I think they have 46 matches in their table. It's pretty hard to only win one game out of 46. So I have to imagine at some point they're going to pick up a point somewhere along the line, right? So, with them having some historical success here against Eastleigh. Absolutely have shown improvement over their last few weeks. When you look at some of their recent results, I mean, they played some of the big teams in the Anglo National League, and they've only lost maybe by a goal or maybe by 2 goals. It's been like 2-0, 1-0. On the defensive side is where they've really improved. I'm not sure what's really changed. I'm not as tuned into this team as maybe some other people are, but it just seems like tactically they've improved on the defensive side. They were conceding like 4 and 5 goals regularly in some of their earlier fixtures, and now a lot of their games are like 1 goal, 2 goal differences here. So this might be a little bit of a reach here, but I just think based on trends here, based on Ebbsfleet, just playing the numbers here. Again, I just find it hard to believe that you're just going to go 46 matches and only win one game. So you're going to pick up an unexpected result somewhere along the line. I'm not going to necessarily say they win this one or even draw, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Ebbsfleet +1. I'm going to take Ebbsfleet +1 at -140. That way, in case they do lose by a goal here, we get some insurance back on it. But again, Eastleigh, they actually come into this one winless in 6 of their last 9, so they are in poor form right now. And again, I'm just riding the trends here in terms of just playing the numbers and hoping that Ebbsfleet is going to pick up an unexpected result here. So that's my play for this one. Tread lightly on it, but Ebbsfleet +1 at -140.
Awesome. Can't tell it. I don't
Yeah.
have the National League anything below that, but good luck. Wish you luck on that one. I always like a match where you can produce a push
Yeah.
within that. It can really save you, like the draw on the bet. I don't tend to take a lot of money lines. I don't. If I do, the spread +1 is a great one. Draw on the bet. That's typically how I go. So that's right up my alley. I'm going to drop now into what is another tough match here between PSV and Arsenal. Poor Arsenal. PSV come in scoring now in 49 of 51. That is 96%. It's really frequently. Like, honestly, this top Netherlands squad has been really improving lately, especially on the offensive end. However, when they're in Europe, they are a scorer and a conceder, right? So they have scored now in 19 of 22 European matches. That's 86%. You regularly see them score, not just at home in domestic, but also in European competition. They've actually scored 2 plus in 31 of 41. That's pretty solid as well. But a lot of that tends to be against these lower level teams. Yes, they have had a couple goals, more than just one goal in the UCL, but a lot of those matches come in their domestic league in the Netherlands. They're just a better team than most of the other teams around. They have lost 2 straight against Go Ahead Eagles, which is pretty darn surprising. Really poor results coming into this fixture. So it should give Arsenal a lot of hope, even though they are absolutely depleted. PSV have also hit both teams to score coming in 13 of 14. So trending well over 2.5 in 33 of 41. That is above 75%. You regularly see PSV hit these totals. But what we have on the other end is really what's going to dictate this match. Arsenal without Havertz, Saka, Jesus. They're going to be playing most likely with Mikel Merino through the middle or Trossard, maybe a Sterling on the wing, and Ethan Wanyeri, 17-year-old Ethan Wanyeri. And then you have the stalwarts. You have the solid midfield. You have the solid defense. You're going to have a very compact Arsenal unit looking to minimize risk to try to get back to leg one. I kind of see this match as more of an under. However, when you have PSV, there you can't really want to back an under because of the way that they play nice and open. It allows for advantageous positions for the other team. It just depends on what Arsenal we're going to see. Are they going to want to take advantage of their opportunities or just really minimize risk? If I had to look at an angle in this match, I could go through Arsenal stats, but they're really just not looking good lately. That's what you should know. If I had to go an angle, it would be probably Arsenal corners. Now, this is the one match that I don't necessarily, and I know this is a weird one for me to say. Not a lot of people have heard me talk about this or go in this direction. But with Arsenal, like this is my team and I watch them day in and day out and I understand everything about the club. And that means that who knows what Mikel's going to put out there. But what he has done lately is look for corners. It is to drive the ball to the line, take advantage of set pieces where they have these big bodies, these defensive bodies who come in, flying in. They have plays, they set picks, they look for opportunities. They have great ball service from Declan Rice. And if you've looked at all of their recent fixtures outside of just maybe a couple of them, these corners are shooting upwards of 9, 10, 11, 12 each match. They're sitting at 5.5 at plus money today. If I had to go a route, it would be that one. And it would probably be a live one if they start strong, like they're getting the ball to their wings, driving the line, trying to get those corners. They could continue on to get those corners, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what they do. Or if they're not going forward, then they're not going to do that. This is a very difficult team to predict right now because Mikel Arteta doesn't have his guns. When you don't have these top players that fulfill your type of system, you have to change things around. You have to fit what your players do. And right now, the attackers are dreadful for Arsenal. It's the midfield and the defenders that are keeping this team second in the Premier League and third in the Champions League. Just really top performer as far as in these tables, but not necessarily on the pitch. So it is a lot of concern for my boys, but maybe an Arsenal lean to the corners. What do you got for us in the AFC Champions League tomorrow?
Yeah, let's do it. So yeah, tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern kickoff here. So the or early morning. We got AFC Asian Champions League 2. So this isn't the elite. This is 2, which is the equivalent of the Europa League for Europe here. We got a matchup between Sanfrecce from Japan, from the J League here, taking on our beloved Lion City Sailors from the Singapore League here. Look, Stanford's coming to this one. They're one of the better teams in the J League, and not just the J League, but regionally as well. They're heavily favored in this one, and rightfully so. They're just they're a far superior team in every way. I mean, I've watched some of their games here recently. They really are a well-rounded team. I mean, they can play on the front foot here. If you're a team that wants to concede possession, they're very comfortable playing possession, playing the attacking third. And then if they have to, if they need to sit back and absorb pressure, they're able to do that as well. So they're really like a multi-dimensional team here, our San Fran. And so the books got this right here in terms of they're being heavily favored. However, one thing we know about Lion City games and Singapore games in general is there's always goals. There's always goals. Lion City, I think they're going to come into this one with the approach of maybe trying to sit back, maybe trying to absorb some pressure, being on the road, kind of limit the score. Problem is they can't do it. I just don't think they can do it. I just don't think they're capable of doing it on the road here at Hiroshima. Here, I think San Fries is going to get out on them early, quick, and often here in this one. And so I like first half over 1.5 goals here at -130. Again, I think that dam's going to break pretty quick here for Lion City, and I think once that first goal goes in, I think we're going to see a kamikaze style of play here from Lion City. They're going to try to push for goals, and when they push for goals, that's when ish hits the fan here. So I think you're going to see goals flying in. I'm a little scared to take a BTTS here because I'm just not sure. As talented as Lion City are domestically, this is one of the better teams that they've played against recently in San Fries. They really haven't played a team with this kind of quality. So I'm a little hesitant to take them to get on the board here, but I do like a lot of goals here. So I'm also going to take the game total over 3.5 or -160. I think the fact that is at such a -160 here for a 4 goal game, I think it tells you everything you need to know here that the books are expecting to be a lot of goals here, and so do I. I just don't think Lion City is just going to be capable of absolutely not holding a clean sheet, and I just don't think they can keep Hiroshima San Francisco off the board here. So I like a lot of goals in this one. So over 1.5 first half and over 3 game.
Yeah, when you have Sam Freaks, I think they've scored in 54 of 56, or it was 55 of 57, depending on what happened this weekend. It's the stat that I have. I think I'm on a little bit of delay. I can kind of see it, but I'm just going to continue to go forward. I liked this pick for sure, especially Lion City. You guys all know, and Prince, I absolutely love the Singapore League. It's a nice open league with absolutely poor defense. Lion City can concede and score on just about anybody, but they definitely can concede against top talent. And when you go to the J League or Japan, the difference in quality between Japan and Singapore is massive. It's just, it's almost like you're playing a different sport. Lion City doesn't have this real defensive compact unit that can put 11 behind the ball and survive. They don't have that great of a goalkeeper. They concede regularly on their opponents in their league as well. So I definitely see that if Sam Fries wants to come out and score, they could score 5, 6, and 7. So I definitely like this. Unfortunately, I can't tell it because I don't have access to the AFC Champions League 2, but I have messaged my books and hopefully we can get some of that soon. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into my best bet for today. Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid, the Madrid derby. Madrid come in scoring at 42 of 46. That's 91% regular scoring, above 9 out of every 10 match. And then you compare that to Atletico, who scored in 47 of 50. That's 94%. Both of these teams above 9 out of every 10. Then you look at the European history, specifically with Atletico, because you need to know this. 18 of 20 that they've scored in European matches, but they've also conceded in 11 of 12 European matches this season and 20 of their last 24. Kind of surprising with Diego Simeone that he's conceding this much in European competition, but he is. And when you look at Real Madrid, who's coming in, they've also conceded in 9 of their 10 European matches. It sets up really nicely for a potential in goals. Both teams' scores come in at 12 of 15 for Real Madrid in Europe, Atletico Madrid 9 of 11, and 15 of their last 20. So they're trending at 75%, hitting both teams to score, not just one team scoring, not just them scoring, both teams. They've also hit that over 2.5 Atletico in 11 straight European matches. So they're also hitting the overs. However, when you look at this matchup history, it has hit both teams to score in 9 straight matches. That is every match since May of 2022. That is pretty solid. Diego Simeone definitely knows how to play this Real Madrid team, even if he's away from home. Over 2.5 has come in at a frequent basis. Oh, it's 5 of 8 in their matchup history. Both teams are hitting that over individually, but when they play one another in the last 3 matches, it's actually just ended 1-1. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take that both teams to score and we're going to do nothing else with it, but just the both teams to score. Tiny bit of juice at minus 150, but it's a potential that if one team scores like a Real Madrid, Atletico will shell out. Or if Atletico scores first, they'll probably sit in nice and deep to absorb pressure, and that will invite Real Madrid. So I don't necessarily know how many goals that we're going to get, but I believe that both teams should be able to find the net, given that they do it so often against one another. These are foes who just know each other well. They shouldn't be scared or intimidated. And also, Real Madrid are without Jude Bellingham, I believe, who's on a red, where they should have most of their attackers. Fede Valverde should be back. Maybe he's playing right back, which is an interesting look because he's not a right back. He could get exposed there, but he will be able to make penetrating passes. He will be able to join the midfield and overload it. So I do think that it is an interesting way to have Real Madrid, but what that should do is open them up and expose them. I just really hope, and I honestly, you have to have a little bit of hope when you bet UCL matches. I just hope Diego Simeone wants to try to get a result instead of sit back for the entire 90 minutes. And that's what you're running a risk at with every match today is a potential for a manager on the away end to just be incredibly conservative, look to minimize risk, and try to get to that leg two even on goal differential. That's just what I expect. It's the smart thing that a manager should do. So that's just, we'll see. But those are our looks for today. We're going to try to keep this a little bit shorter for you guys. We've covered 4 Champions League matches. We've covered an English championship match, giving you a best bet, giving you one best bet in the UCL, giving you a best bet in the National League and the AFC Champions League. And I know people have asked us to recap our picks at the end. It's something that I keep forgetting to do. So that's what we're going to do right now. I personally am on the Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, both teams to score. I got that at minus 150. I have 3 other looks, or 3 other, I guess you'd say, breakdowns where I have potential looks, maybe live and some good information. But Prince, you also have 3 looks for us as well. If you could go through those real quick.
Yeah, so yeah, just to recap here, Hall City Plymouth, we're looking at the game total under 2.5. We're also looking at a sprinkle on Hall City money line and under 3.5 at plus money. Then we're going to Eastleigh and Ebbsfleet United. We're looking at Ebbsfleet +1 at minus 140. Then the Asian Champions League 2, we're looking at the San Fries versus Lion City Sailors. First half over 1.5 goals and the game total over 3.5 goals.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thanks for recapping that for me. Great. So, last piece of news before we get out of here is we're going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus. 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure exactly how many weeks we're going to be off from shots on target, but for those who don't know, I will be having a child next week. So I'm not even going to most likely be able to make the Tuesday show. So we're going to just postpone for a week, maybe 2, and look to recap. So follow us on X. We will let you know when we will come back. But for the time being, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.